overviews, and then
Yeah.
narrow it down into if it makes sense to talk about the event coming up in July, great on this call. Otherwise, Sage is leading programming for that event,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
she'll be your point of contact
Yeah.
going forward. But yeah,
Excellent.
I'd just love to learn more about. I was poking around the website. It
Yeah.
seems very aligned. I haven't driven. Next time I'm driving south, I will try to swing through
Okay.
Missouri.
Did you both get to see my TED talk back from 2011?
I have not. I may have seen it a while ago, but I have not seen it recently, and I didn't have time to watch it yet. But I will put it on my bookmarks because it probably gives a pretty good overview.
It does. So I mean, it's a 4 minute talk. Do you want me to play it real quick right now, or no? Just save it and then I can.
Yeah, we can review it afterwards.
Okay.
I think I get the gist from the website, right? Like
Yeah.
a data plan, like build plans for tools,
Yep.
which is very aligned with our build power program.
Yeah. Exactly. So let me give you a 10 minute presentation on it. Would that be
Okay.
good?
Sure, yeah, something we can keep it informal. There's no. I'm
Yeah.
eating a sandwich, and
Okay.
Sage has a coffee. It's lunchtime.
Okay.
Always,
Perfect.
always.
So sit back for a little bit of edutainment as as I take you through my story, our story of OSE, and the larger vision as well. So I'm gonna just share my screen so that you guys do the
Fantastic.
entire screen share. Edutainment starts here. So can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so please take a look at this after we're done. And it's like a compelling 4 minute story, but I'm going to tell you what we've done since then and my background. So I was born in Poland. Actually, this is a real scene from the streets of my town. Communist Poland, 1982. This is actually what I
Wow.
remember back from home, like empty shelves, and I would have to wait in line for food, like to get bread and not bread, but things like butter or meats. Shelves are empty. So I came to America, and this is what I saw. Amazing. I went to Princeton, Wisconsin Madison for grad school, and I discovered I was useless.
Love Madison.
Love it, love it, loved it. I got radicalized there. I discovered I was useless too, so I started a farm in Missouri. This is our current site, and when we got on there was an empty field, and we had to, we tried to do a little civilization reboot experiment. Since I was so disenchanted with college, with my grad school, I felt the farther I went, the less relevant I became to society. So I said, well, let's redesign society from scratch based on collaboration. Because I couldn't even collaborate openly in grad school. Like I couldn't talk openly to other groups because we had
Mm.
proprietary in a way, like it was secret. We weren't able to talk openly about it. So we started building things, homes and machines. We build machines and homes, and we build real hardware along the open source method. Let me get rid of that jingle over there. So what we noticed is this is someone in Texas replicated one of our machines like in 2009, something like that. This is our machine that the block press,
Awesome.
open
Hmm.
blueprints. This guy just downloaded when he sent me this picture. I thought it was a Photoshop copy of my machine because it looked exact. Digital design.
Yeah.
They built it from scratch by themselves.
Wow.
So that's one of our machines. About people, that wasn't a unique experience. So people replicate our tractors. Students in Pasadena, California. This is a
Super
recent build,
cool.
like people replicating our 3D printers. This is Alexa doing current work, actually developing that. And we got really efficient at doing this stuff. By modular design, we are now able to build a brick press with 12 people in one day using
Wow.
IKEA style fabrication diagrams, modular design where we break everything down into modules and a modular development method so we can have big swarms of people collaborate with radical modularity, with interchangeable parts like Legos, like power units and drive units, and we learned to design things very simply. Like for example, the machine on the left, it's an iron worker. You shear steel with it, 1 by 12
Hmm.
inch slabs of steel. We built that in 6 months. It's an open source design now. And then we said, wow, that's a lot of time. Like we'd never be able to sell it. It's like a lot of labor that went into it. So we redesigned it to be super simple. and we came up with a thing on the right, which took us 2 days to build with 2 people. It could shear 1x10 steel. So it's like, wow,
Wow.
if you redesign stuff for simplicity, that could, that's an interesting idea. Why don't we do that?
Yeah.
We do real-time documentation with people collaborating remotely. That's a known thing with the internet. We do swarms. So the house you see back there, 1,400 square feet, was built with 50 people in 5 days. So this is kind of like disaster response, the disaster of housing shortage. This is actually where I live right now. We went, so with 6 people who were skilled guides and pretty much everyone else off unskilled people, we built that. We had a foundation in place, and then we did everything of the shell up to the photovoltaics on the top that you see there. We did not finish the inside. We were not that good yet at that time. Now we can actually. So we built other things like aquaponic greenhouses and swarms like this. This is we did this for production for a year. Planted out like 10,000 hazelnut trees, of which most of them got wiped out. So we started with very simple structures like earth bag and cordwood huts, where we lived in initially. We built, this is a compressed earth block structure, our main workshop. We built houses, things like this. This is a compressed earth block house that's now clad with wood. We did Open Building Institute Kickstarter.
Hi, my name is Marcin.
Oh, let's go big time. And now we get into production level housing. So we started the Seed Eco Home project with respect of making affordable ecological housing widely accessible. Now, what's unique about it is that it's buildable by swarms. So each of these modules here are 4x9 feet, which we can, for example, build in a workshop and assemble rapidly into place. So that's the house we built in those 5 days with 50 people. We moved, that's the same house. We moved on to the Seed Eco Home 2, now getting into actually a production model, because what we're doing is, this is now about, let's have a cross-subsidy model where we build homes to fund the rest of our ambitious dreams. More prototypes. This is our production build that's actually for sale right now. Comes with PV, still at the same market price. It's got super efficient features, R51 for the roof insulation. So it's a high quality house. Quite aesthetic. Next build is this. We haven't done this yet. This is our next build, a 2,000 square foot version of this, where we're going to now put 12 kilowatts of PV photovoltaics. So that's getting into the renewable energy quite a bit. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff we do. And then, if you invest in our own CEB press, we can save. If we start building the homes with CEB, you can reduce materials for the walls by 5K. If you got yourself a production some lumber mill, you can decrease build costs by 20K for the lumber. With 3D printing, you can actually, taking scrap to make 3D printing filament and then use 3D printers, you can actually reduce up to 20K for things like there's electrical, there's plumbing, there's geogrid, like pavement blocks, there's plastic deck, there's tons of like exterior trim, which is pretty expensive. We've got like a couple of thousand in exterior trim just there. You can reduce that quite a bit from 60K ticket to 20K. Right now, without any of those reductions, our build cost is 120K for materials and labor for a house like that, comparable to industry standards of about 180K. We build crazy machines, so you don't have to pay 75K for an industry standard Bobcat, so more like 15K for the open sector version. And then getting into, the last thing is that what we're doing is, so it's about training people. So there's a lot to unpack here, and it's a whole integrated skill set of civilization builders and collaboration architects, and we're starting an apprenticeship program.
I saw that.
Yeah. Anywhere from start with a 2-week builder crash course up to 4 years for the full apprenticeship, and you have fellowships. So you, in this program itself, you build houses 2 days a week. Hands-on. Learn 20 trades. 3 days of school. So we teach you how to design and build just about anything. Learning how to learn. So how to think and learn. And learning how to be a human. The thing you're never taught explicitly in schools. Your parents are supposed to teach it, but if they're not savvy on that, you don't have an advantage there. So we're taking it to school. build in a program, build 2 houses every 2 months. This is the current production model that's up for sale right now on Zillow. This is in Maysville, Missouri. We do a builder crash. We start September 1 with a 2-week builder crash course where you can learn all the 20 trades, not just like go go superficially in class. No, you're actually building the whole thing, including all the subsystems from the heat pump, electrical, to the PV, to the foundation, to the framing and everything. So this is a
Wow.
radical crash course in 2 weeks. 2 hours of class and 6 hours of builds per day.
Wow.
So that's kind of the things we're doing. We're building up more infrastructure right now, so there's more plans for how to build things.
And
But
so this is all on your location in Missouri.
yeah, it
Like you're
is.
doing all the production. How big is that
Well,
facility?
the houses are built for the regular market, so those are not, like the house, the one that you saw for sale, that's not on our site.
Okay, so you have a separate contract manufacturer or something like that that's doing that piece of the puzzle. Because this is a
No,
big, it
no,
feels,
we're
it
doing it.
looks like a
We're
big
doing it.
operation.
We don't
Sorry?
have, no, we're doing it.
Wow.
We're not hiring anybody.
Wow.
This is our students, two
Yep.
days out of
Got
the
it.
week. They get out into real world builds, negotiating building codes and real build conditions. And every 2 months, starting with the builder crash course and the real house build, every 6 weeks, we're pumping out a house.
Wow.
So sorry, I forgot to mention the cohort of 24 is how we're starting September 1. And the
Got
goal
it.
is to, within 1 to 4 years, train people to build as a swarm each house in only 5 days. Absolutely complete from foundation to PV. So that's our
Wow.
program in a nutshell. The,
Wow.
so what's going on there for real? So that's actually a cross-subsidization method where the houses are paying for the rest of the Global Village construction set development. So our current goal is to
Hmm.
complete the absolute finished set, all the 50 machines, everything from a 3D printer to a bakery oven to a house to a tractor to even to CNC machining centers and renewable energy
Hmm.
equipment and everything. So it's civilization reconstruction or crisis management writ large, taken into swarmable, um, appropriate technology that can be deployed around the world. If you look at the services that the Global Village construction set provides, it's everything like from making steel to concrete to homes to
Yeah,
parts.
yeah.
11 trillion of a global market. So it's a huge, huge market. We select all the things to be multi-billion dollar enterprises themselves. That's what we're working on.
That is wild. I feel like do you know enough about footprint or do you need this kind of spiel or the
Tell
overview?
me about it. I don't know really anything out.
Okay.
I've looked at the website a little bit. I know you do response and you do emergency energy projects, including, I was surprised and glad to see Ukraine too. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're unfortunately we don't have a ton of international like momentum. Yeah, the international response game is just so expensive. It's hard to find, because I'm sure you know fundraising is the trickiest, one of these trickiest pieces of the whole thing. Um, but in short, we work
Oh, sorry,
across
sorry. By the
the,
way, can I
yeah,
ask you? Do you mind if I publish? So I'm recording it for my own sake, but can I publish this video online for people to see? Because it's I work openly typically. If you're okay with
yeah,
a
that's fine.
growth
Sage, are you
video,
okay with recording? Okay,
okay.
cool.
Thank you.
Some of our, I know Ray doesn't like her
Okay,
takes her camera off.
go ahead.
But um, yeah, so footprint and then Sage chime in as if I miss something. Footprint focuses on we're deploying cleaner energy infrastructure
Yeah.
to frontline community groups, meaning, and that generally has looked like solar and battery storage to replace traditional gas fossil fuel generators. Most of our work is in the Gulf Coast and now the Appalachia region because of Hurricane Helene. But we've also done projects in Puerto Rico, in Maui after the wildfire. We still have equipment there. And then, as you mentioned, Ukraine, though it's hard to keep that up because we don't have staff or like long-term funding. The I kind of think of our model like a United Rentals or a Sunbelt like a heavy equipment or power generation rental company if they were a nonprofit and all of it was at no or low cost. So we really just focus on getting this type of new tech into the hands of folks that would otherwise not be able to afford it, and then combining that with training or other wraparound services so that a church or a you know community aid group in up the mountain in the hollers or in down in the bayous in Louisiana can
Yeah.
stay keep their lights on, keep their fridge running, insulin cold, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And we've only recently started to think about community resilience like planning, and that's mostly because of Hurricane Helene and the ability. We've been lucky to be able to hire two people in Asheville to support long-term recovery there. So I
Tell me the
personally, as you were talking, yeah,
tell me
what's up?
what do you mean by frontline communities affected by disasters?
Yeah, we focus mostly. So I think about our user groups, like the the primary group. If we could identify our ideal user, it would be a an org or a community-based group. Doesn't have to be a traditional nonprofit or an institution, but mutual aid group, church, group of neighbors that decided to support, band together to do check-ins on their neighbors during a heat wave. The groups that are doing the real local response work, um, community emergency response teams are very, very common, but the groups as close to the ground as possible that can't afford a fancy solar microgrid and
Yeah.
can't, but usually need power, connectivity, water, and other critical resources.
Okay.
So the second group of people that or orgs that use our fleet of mobile microgrids are mostly like more traditional response groups. So like the United Methodist Committee on Relief or the NOSEP, emergency management for the city of New Orleans,
Mm-hmm.
or we don't currently have any equipment with the American Red Cross, but like those types of
Yeah.
kind of more formalized emergency management and response groups.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think from as I was hearing you talk, I think the closest like connection point that we could start with as a collaboration is sharing some like training resources and designs for these open source solar generator sets that we're trying to build. And if you have if you have a mobile microgrid open source set, we would love to share that on to our network.
We have an
But
on-grid hybrid inverter open source net grid.
I think, from what I understand, I think your open source sets are much more detailed than ours. We're like,
Yeah, it's
what can we
exhaustive.
buy and what inverter, battery, and solar panel can we buy, hook together, and build for a student group or as a training.
Yeah.
So I think at the event in July, I think it's Sage really worth connecting Jimmy Luttrell and um, the open source ecology team because I'm sure they would have a lot
What do you
to
guys
talk
think
about.
about the funding method? So what we're doing is each home that we build, we can net 50 to 100K on it, and especially once we can even set up when one of our graduates comes out of the program as a construction manager, each person like that running a full team of 24 can build 50 houses a year. So we're talking about significant budget generation. But the idea is that we're using this cross-subsidy model because we understand that the revolution will not be funded. We need lots of resource to make this happen. What do you guys think of the idea of the cross-subsidy model, because what I would propose immediately, if you guys are looking for funding, one way to do it is to use a cross-subsidy method like we are. And we're willing to teach you absolutely everything. This is a state-of-art house, absolutely open. In our program, in as little as the 2 months, you get to build 2 complete houses. One is a small one with all the complete everything, utilities and everything, and the other one is a real production build. So I would suggest, if you guys are looking for, I mean, I don't know if it's an option for you guys, but encourage your people and train in-house your fundraising team. Okay, we do houses as a cross subsidy for the public interest work.
Yeah, man, if we had the time to jump in, this sounds very similar to like some um what is it, the what are those guys in Santa Fe that build those eco homes or earthships?
Earthships,
Yeah, it seems very similar.
except it's 5 days versus 5 months.
Yeah. So yeah, it's always a place I'm hoping we can get some folks to get into that space. We're still so dialed into the like energy and disaster worlds. I don't think we'll be able to. We can offer. I think we can cross promote um, your curriculum because it would involve sending people to Missouri, right, for like two
Yeah,
months. Yeah,
you
yeah,
have to
yeah,
have the hands-on experience.
yeah. That
Part
makes
of it
sense,
is
man.
the
If I
big,
could take off,
yeah,
if
I
I
mean, the
could take
big
off
deal of
work
it
for two
is
months.
the learning about collaboration architecture. How do you design the workflows, and how do you make this team sing and produce effectively like a
Totally.
choreographed unit? So it's, I mean, it's not something you can learn remotely.
No, no, no,
Both
no.
both from the hands-on skills and the collaboration
Yeah,
architecture
yeah,
aspect.
and I'm sure a lot of the folks in at Lake Eden in July would be very interested in the curriculum. Do you already have students? Like, is it already all the
We're
seats are
st-
full for the first 2 months, or how?
we're
How
starting
many?
September 1, 2025. Right now,
Got
we
it.
have 2 people that have gone through the application and are almost complete, and there's 3 more that are applying. We plan
Got it.
on, we have a video coming out in a couple of weeks, so we're doing a major push on publicity. Like our internet backend is out of control right now. We're revamping it all because we're pretty much taken on to OSC version 3.0 and
Yeah,
reworking a lot of the infrastructure for it. The including what we if we don't, we're committed to starting with 24 people because part of it is the promise that you have fast and productive
yeah,
and therefore
yeah.
fun builds, and that's a key because this is hard work. You need a crew to support
Yeah,
you.
no,
You
you
don't
don't
have to
want to be building.
carry the weight yourself.
Totally.
So we can also hire people for that program. So if they're just looking for a job,
Yeah,
they
no,
can
that's
do that.
great.
However, we encourage that, and we have the flexibility, absolutely the flexibility. Do it full-time learning, do it full-time work, anywhere in between. The standard
Hmm.
program is you work 2 days and you study 3 days, and the weekends are off. There's a tuition, but the earnings from the work-study part, which is building the homes, you get paid
Yeah,
by your skill set, and you can. This is a debt-free alternative to college.
yeah, that's super cool. Before I forget, because we're gonna have to jump at
Yeah,
like I think we're coming
for a
up
couple of
to
few
it.
minutes.
But have you heard of this group? I think it sounds very familiar, and I don't know them very well, but your open source kind of data sets remind me a lot of this
Oh yeah, of
this.
course, of course.
Okay, sweet. Because UMCOR, one of our close, the United Methodist Committee on Relief, they have mentioned precious plastics to us, and I've been
Plastic
long
bottles.
Plastic
hopes to try
waste.
to power one of those plastic
Plastic waste.
like
Ocean of
recycling sets. It's a long shot, and I know we got a lot more to talk about, but I was just curious if there was a connection
Oh,
there.
absolutely. Yeah, they do have fully open source shredder machines that you can replicate. That's really good.
Yeah,
No, they're great. They're one of the top projects. I mean, if not the top in the
cool.
open source world. Yeah.
I just love seeing. I mean, there's so much work to do in the open, like that space, and it's fun to see these dots
Yeah,
connecting.
and
I
actually,
guess. Yep.
interestingly, on that, so in our technology set, we understand that fuel is a big deal. So basically, pyrolysis of plastic into gasoline and diesel, it's a
Mm-hmm.
low-hanging fruit. Basically, people don't
Interesting.
really recognize that plastics are uh, fuel in disguise with a very
Yeah,
simple
yeah,
reactor process. So anyway, it's
totally.
quite. We will be
No, that's
doing that for.
fascinating.
Mhm.
Well, I think we'd love, like, I know we want to get your, like, try to carve out some space for whether it's a quick, hey, this is what we're doing at Open Source Ecology, or if you have any tools, would you be driving from Missouri to Asheville, or would
No,
you be flying?
no, I
Okay,
would fly.
gotcha. Is there any like smaller things that we could potentially cover shipping for to get a demo of like like some piece of like something you could be like, this is the data, here's the set, and here's the thing. Come,
I could
you
bring the
know.
micro tractor, which is fully open source, has got a power cube, but that would cost to ship. I could bring a 3D
Yeah,
printer.
do you have any of those? Okay, yeah, yeah. Maybe this is a Sage. I don't know, Sage. I'm just spitballing here on like what is what, because I mean I know people would be
Who's the
very interested in
audience?
hearing you talk,
Who is the
but
audience?
it's mostly disaster response organizations in it, like the groups that we power around the country, and then about 50% travelers and 50% local Western North Carolina recovery groups.
Are they typically staff or are they typically the volunteers or half and half?
Mostly staff, I'd say. Yeah,
Mostly
yeah.
staff. So not really the audience of the volunteers who may be actually interested in the program itself.
I'm sure they would. I think they would be a lot of the groups that are going to be in. This is a great question. I think a lot of them are going to be so busy prepping for hurricane and storm season this fall that they could they know people and they'd want to take the time off, but they're not going to be able to take the time off this year, uh, just because of the frequency of storms. I
Mm-hmm.
know that's what we're dealing with right now is how to plan an event and prep for hurricane season.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but it's great to connect. I'm so
Yeah.
glad you reached out on the email. And well, did you RSVP for the event yet? Because that's the
Have not.
first. Okay, definitely do that. So we have you on the so we can get you a ticket. And then Sage, I think we need to like think through where and how he can share his story.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
think it might be one of those lunchtime like story circle type things. And I do think there's like this audience of folks who are interested in how to build shelter quickly.
oh
And
yeah.
I think like that could be a really cool thing to hone in on how y'all are doing that.
So I can tell you immediately, and that's so part of the proposition is that we build complete houses that are made out of two 10 by 20 sections. And actually, if you could, I mean, you can start with a studio, a 10 by 20, which goes on a trailer, or you can take two of those and you actually span a roof section in between them to get a full-sized house of about 900 square feet. So we definitely are thinking about the mobile options and how to implement for things like disaster.
That's so cool. Yeah, I think next step is I'll follow up with you and try to just figure out what's the best place for you to fit into the schedule. There is like a period during lunch where we'll be able to have folks kind of come up and do their like TED talk. And I think that could be probably the best way for you
Okay.
to reach the most people. Yeah,
Okay, let's coordinate on that. So
for sure.
I think you
Yeah.
guys need to go, right? And we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
follow up
No,
on the
thank you.
email and let's
Love
work
it.
out a way
And
to do it.
Sage, I know neither of us can take 2 months off this fall, but man, it does seem tempting to just
Now,
jump in.
there's the 2 week builder crash course at the very, very beginning, where in 2 weeks we go through the whole build of the smaller, which is actually 800, still 800 square feet. That complete
Incredible.
thing
Will you
in
send
2
us?
weeks.
Is that on the website or
Not
in the
yet.
details?
That's part of
Okay.
the. We're
Please
gonna
do
do
keep
that.
us informed, because if we can carve out time, we'd love to get someone from our team out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to make promises I can't keep.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Okay.
It's great to meet
Great
you.
to meet you guys, and we'll be in touch.
All
So
right.
Sage will
See you
continue.
soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.